Hello Capricorn, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a timeless reading, which means that whenever you happen to be watching this reading was meant to find you. Okay? Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I'm merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. Right. Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is the Mercury energy, the Magus, the Magician, the first mystery of the tarot, right? Let's put that into some context, okay? And we're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. Ooh. All right, that's okay. As I do this, I'd also like to say that if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. And I say this for every reading, every video. It's not just because we see all of these, the 8 and the 9 of swords and the 10 of wands here. It's not because of these kind of challenges or these forces right now, okay? It's not because I see anything bad. We're gonna, oh boy, we're gonna do the rest of our Dove and Serpent spread, and let's do a mystery card, all right? And the mystery card, we'll use Rider-Waite-Smith. And this is the card that we are not gonna look at until the very end of the reading, okay? And we're going to set it aside, and hopefully it will give us the confirmation that we need right at the very end. We're going to put the frog on top of it, and the frog might whisper to me what that card is by the end of the reading, but we'll see. Sometimes the frog doesn't really help me very much. Okay, so we see the 10 of wands up here, and that along with this air energy is a little bit of a challenge. So we've got some air, we've got some fire. Major arcana, we've got this Capricorn energy down here with this Devil card. We've got some earth, we've got more air, water, and fire. Okay. Okay, so there's not a lot of water. And the water that we do have is, it's in the position of what you don't want, right? You don't want this 4 of cups. So that's telling me that the situation for you right now is one where you don't want to be too forgiving. You don't want to be passive. You don't want to be a pushover. You don't want to get steamrolled by something, right? You don't want this 4 of cups, this kind of mellow, emotional thing. You don't want to maybe get too emotional, but what we really don't want is to be so complacent, so passive, and so yielding that someone pushes right over us, that we just get like steamrolled, we get doormatted, we get just completely pushed aside, okay? So that is worse than getting too emotional, right? If we're so passive that we get taken advantage of. But let's start with this Mercury energy, because you are someone, and we can verify this with the last several readings for you. You've been creating your reality. You've come into this, this power, right? I don't know what else to call it. You've come into your own power recently, like in the last few months, I think, at least as far as these readings have been concerned. You are creating your reality at every turn. You are making decisions based on what your heart tells you, what your spirit tells you, what your path is. You have this confidence. You have now even, we went through a lot of this period of kind of getting rid of the air energy, right? Not avoiding conflict, but distancing ourselves from those negative forces, the people who like to fight and argue and have this negative vibe. We try to get away from that, focus on ourselves, find our power, find our light, which we did, and find your creativity, find your confidence, and your self-direction. And you've got that now. Now I think that you've discovered that, I think you're out here with your magic wand and you're You're changing what you don't like. You're creating what you want in your life. You're bringing all of this wonderful energy into your life. And you're doing it with a very, very sharp wit and a very pleasant sense of humor. I think right now you've got this kind of very cheerful, kind of almost a practical joker kind of vibe. And I think you almost feel just so overjoyed that you're almost giddy right now with the kind of life that you're creating, the kind of success that you're making for yourself, the creativity, the confidence, the light that you have. I think you can't help but to just kind of run around and giggle as you're tapping stuff with your magic wand. You know, it feels like we're a kid again. And I love that energy. I'm so overjoyed myself that this is the kind of energy that we have for Capricorns right now. Because I feel like you've done a lot of struggling. You know, this energy from the past, we're going to get to this right now, this 8 of Swords. It's what's behind you. Let's remember that. It's what's behind you. The 8 of Swords. You've been through a lot in your life, and especially recently. And you haven't always had the confidence that you have now. You haven't always had a mind that would kind of agree with you, you know? There's been a lot of challenges with our own internal dialogue, right? A lot of doubts about ourselves. And I think that in the past, we used to give form to these doubts. We used to give expression to them in such a way that they were then able to become manifest, become stronger, and actually cut us off from progress, from our confidence, from our excitement, from our will, from our creativity, all of that stuff. So the negative thinking, the dialogue, the kind of that stuff that we were doing, which again, you know, is still there to some degree, I feel, right? But we've gotten a handle on that. It's not, we've kind of tamed that part of our minds a little bit. But I feel like in the past, we would lend such weight to these negative thoughts, these self-doubts, this over-analysis, this questioning of ourselves, and all of these, we're kind of putting ourselves down, all of this negative stuff that we used to say about ourselves, we would lend such weight to it that it would literally manifest and materialize as like solid steel bars in like a prison, you know? They would almost literally become facts in physical, knock on wood, reality. And I think this was really preventing us from moving forward, but we've gotten out of this, right? Mercury is quicksilver. Mercury can just kind of slide right through the bars. Nothing can contain Mercury, right? Mercury is kind of like air in that way, right? Because with air, like the Fool energy, for instance, air cannot be contained by a screen door. You know, that's why we have screen doors, let the air through. So the bars that we've created in our own kind of mental prison, air energy, that's not going to stop it, right? The same with Mercury, only with Mercury, this magician energy, Mercury has a little bit more direction. You know, it's the difference between like just a puff of air that just expands in every direction versus you know, like a compressed air with a little nozzle, you know, that goes in a specific direction where you will it to go. It's not just like popping a balloon, the air just goes, you know, everywhere. It's a very direct, very intentional flow, okay? And I think that's the Mercury energy now. You have this kind of laser focus. You have this ability to take all of your air energy, all of this, well, all of your thoughts, not just the ones from the past, because again, I think these are behind us, okay? But you have this ability to take all of your faculties, I guess, all of your skills, all of your elements, right? The magician has all of the elements before them, and they can utilize them, and they can put them all, dedicate them all, consecrate every part of your being to a certain goal or objective or intent, okay? And that's the magician, that's Mercury. It's that focused nozzle of air that has all of the force behind it of everything that you're about. You put everything into what you're doing, into your ultimate goals and objectives, even if they're quite distant. You know, you're consecrating every part of your being, every asset, everything that you have, every resource into your goals and your intentions and what you're doing. Okay. And you're doing it with a smile. You're doing it with this playful kind of vibe and energy, which I really do like. I think that you are working on something specific. You may be trying to level up your business, level up your career, level up your fitness, or your life, your lifestyle, your home. Maybe you're adding a second floor or something. I feel like you're trying to level up in your kind of horizontal life, right? And this is the Queen of Pentacles. And I think you have a tremendous confidence. I think that you know exactly what you want. You know what kind of wallpaper you want. And now you have this relaxed attitude that it's going to happen. You're going to make it happen, and there's no worries about it. There's no question that this is going to happen, right? But I see some of this air energy creeping back in. It's almost as if we are getting a little bit too comfortable. Like with this Mercury, Hermes, Mercury, bit of a trickster. So it's almost like while you are having so much fun with your magic wand, you're laughing, you're playing, you're having a good time, and everything is coming to fruition for you. I feel like we're letting a little bit of this air energy seep back in because maybe we've relaxed our vigilance just a little bit, And I think that might be why we see the 9 of Swords in the immediate future. What's right in front of you is this 9 of Swords. It's almost like you got to be careful. You're running around. You might fall into one of those, what do they call it, a bear pit or something, which is a deep hole with spikes at the bottom. It sounds terrible. It's awful, right? And that's kind of what I see here with these 9 swords. That if we're not careful, we're going to kind of run into this again. We're going to fall into this pit. And I think it feels to me, at least, like one of the reasons why this might be something in our environment now that we kind of have to look out for, something that we're kind of at risk of this, is because of this 10 of Wands at the top of the path of the Dove. It almost feels like you've got infinite energy. You're invincible. You're indestructible now. But that's Mercury saying, oh yeah, you're indestructible, all right. But the joke's going to be on you because I've created this nice, whatever it is, a bear pit or something. I don't know if that's what they call it or not. Anyway, I've created this kind of snare somewhere out here. And as you're running around, not paying attention, having fun, creating, being this magician, being this kind of solar light, you might get ensnared by this 9 of Swords. And I think it's because of the Ten of Wands. I think we have this feeling like we can't be stopped. We're unbeatable now. We've conquered this. The Eight of Swords, all of the air influence, all the negativity is behind us. We're done, out of here. But it's going to creep back in if we're not vigilant. Okay, so the Ten of Wands is really you overextending yourself or having a little bit too much energy, a little bit too much confidence, right? It's energy that is kind of, it forgets where it came from. It is almost like forgetting what a struggle it was to get where we are, you know? And that's something that we don't want to forget. So it could be that this Nine of Swords is here as a reminder, not saying, look, you're going to run into these swords and things are going to be miserable. But just remember that this is always something that is or could be a problem. You know, you're never fully out of the woods. You're never fully free and clear of this snare, this trap of not only our own doubts and our own negative inner dialogue, negative self-talk, putting ourselves down, convincing us that, you know, these negative things. Not only that coming from within, but this air energy coming from without. And that's sort of what we see on the path of the serpent, right? There's always going to be negative influence, either coming from within us, coming from other people. We can't be running around the woods thinking that there's no danger out here anymore. We could trip and sprain our ankle. We could fall into a foxhole or something, you know, or a bear trap or whatever it's called. Bear hole, I don't know. Bear pit. So the Ten of Wands is, I think, all of your confidence, all of your enthusiasm, and this really, really expressive, creative, vital energy, fiery energy, indestructible, invincible energy, which is good. And that comes from your Capricorn nature. Underneath it all, you are this goat. You are Capricorn, right? At your core. And this is beneath the surface. It's kind of the foundation of what you're resting on. And this is saying, don't forget how far you've come. Don't forget what a struggle it was for you to kind of jump step by step up the mountain, right? Leaving all of this air energy behind you, or down beneath you, below you. Don't forget how much it took to get where you are. That we start slipping back into old habits. We start slipping back into old indulgences, maybe old addictions, maybe old conflicts, you know. We start maybe finding ourselves one day, oh man, I'm engaged in the same kind of negative stuff that I was in before. I've let this energy back into my life, either externally from other people or internally from myself. Right back in this really bad air energy environment, okay? And this could be all sorts of things. We saw for Capricorn, we saw a lot of stuff for you in the past. We saw, you know, addictions, overindulgences. We saw a lot of depression, a lot of the negative self-talk and the negative internal dialogue. We saw a lot of self-sabotage. We saw a lot of conflict coming from other people. We saw a lot of friends or loved ones taking advantage of us or being the kind of the stick in the spokes of our own progress, letting these, you know, negative people into our lives and disrupting our lives. That's what we have to be on the lookout for. And I think, again, that's why we have the Four of Cups over here. This is what we don't want. We don't want to become so passive and yielding to it that we just let all this negativity back in. But at the same time, going Ten of Wands, like kind of the exact opposite, right, of the water. By going too confident, too carefree, too invincible, well, that pushes out so much of the air and water energy that it's kind of foolish, right? Because we're kind of ignoring the reality that, hey, we're still in the woods. There's still danger here, right? We may be strong, capable people, but we still have to be aware of our surroundings, you know. And certainly remember how far you've come. Because this should be kind of a daily reminder of you of how we don't want to get back to this negative air energy. We don't want to get back to that negative air energy. Now, moving to the path of the serpent, we don't want to be so immersed in the memories that we basically are in the negative state again anyway. You know what I mean? We don't want to dwell on it. We don't want to ruminate on all of that negative air energy. So when I say that we have to remember where we've been, remember how far we've come, remember this negative air energy and all of that we had to work through, everybody we had to deal with, everything we had to deal with to get here now, to get to this Queen of Pentacles state where you're the boss of your life, you know, all of this great energy that you have now. When I say that we have to remember all of that, it's an awareness. It is an integration of those experiences so that they can assist us in moving forward and being vigilant and being mindful about what things we're walking into, right? It doesn't mean that we just dwell on that negativity and then we start to re-injure ourselves. We start to kind of re-traumatize ourselves because now we're just kind of stuck in the past and we're just dwelling in that negative memory, right? Three of Swords here is about the negative memory or the memory of that painful experience, the memory of all of that conflict, all of that struggle, all of that, you know, bad air energy. So we don't want to do that. We want to be mindful. We want to remember where we were, where we came from, how we got here. We want to remember the struggles, but we don't want to ruminate on them. We don't want to dwell in them. Okay? Use them as power. Don't allow them to materialize and become yet another Eight of Swords. Okay? Now, in your environment, I feel like there is kind of a situation that's coming around right now that maybe you have been a little bit unaware of, right? Because we're so wrapped up in this Ten of Wands, maybe we didn't see some of this air creeping back in. And this is someone in your environment. I think that there is a little bit of a conflict brewing with someone. Now, I don't know who they might be. I'm not getting really any feeling of who they are. Could be an air sign person, maybe Libra. Getting a bit of a Libra vibe. But I feel like there's this kind of a little bit of conflict with somebody. I don't know if this is at home or if this is at work or if this is in, you know, friend group or family group. I feel like it's someone in your environment though. So it's somebody that someone that has interaction with you, right? Somebody that you talk to, or that's in your home, or someone in the workplace, or maybe it could be somebody online in your friends list or something. But I feel like you're starting to have these kinds of there's just, I don't know if they're I feel like there's some negative vibes coming from them, right? I don't know if they're angry with you or if they're saying kind of negative or hurtful things to you. I mean, in that case, yeah, maybe just ignore it. Maybe just be unaware of that. But what I think is going on is that maybe you're trying not to let it bother you, right? You're trying to kind of ignore it. You're aware that it's happening, but you're trying to ignore it. But at the same time, it's kind of starting to stir up this air energy in you, right? And I don't know if this is maybe someone at work, maybe somebody that's, I don't know, some gossip or just something. There's some kind of talking or some kind of, it could be typing, I guess, but some kind of a communication that you're trying not to really be involved with. trying to let it go, trying not to let it bother you, trying to just ignore it, right? Trying to stay in this Ten of Wands, ignore this negative air energy. But I don't think that's going to last, because I think then it just starts to kind of creep up underneath the radar, right? And we certainly don't want to ignore it so much that we kind of, we allow it. We've already forgiven it. So whatever happens is okay. I don't think we want that, because that is allowing us like a sponge. This is a sponge for negativity right now. This is allowing ourselves to soak up all of this negative energy by ignoring it, by forgiving it, kind of ahead of time, preemptively, by trying to not feel anything about it, right? By convincing ourselves that we're okay, that's not bothering us, I think is counterproductive right now for you. Okay. The last card on the path of the serpent is the Three of Wands. So this is a very strong fire energy. It's not strong in this kind of overdoing it, exaggerated way like the Ten of Wands. The Three of Wands is very, it's an understanding of your own power. Understanding also the limitations of your invincibility, right? This is having boundaries. This is understanding the limits to your tolerance for BS, your tolerance for negative energy around you, and also the awareness that you need to be proactive, and you need to not be the sponge for negative vibes, right? So the Three of Wands is a lot of integrity, and this is the real challenge, and I think this is kind of the next phase for you. Because again, we went from this kind of negativity, this struggle. You've really kind of like blossomed as this solar being, this radiant force, right? Owning your power. And I think you've been indulging in that, and you deserve it. You deserve to enjoy this kind of new fire and light that you've found, that you've rediscovered in yourself, right? But now it's time to kind of move into the next phase of that. Okay, let's temper that. Let's get control over that. Let's discipline that to make sure that we're not so kind of inflated that we make ourselves vulnerable, right? So the three, this is understanding boundaries and limits, coming from both ways, from yourself outwardly and understanding your limits of what you're going to allow in, and understanding how far you can extend your kind of your radius of invincibility. Right? We're still in the woods. We're not out of the woods. So I think this is the next stage for you, and this is very exciting. We're growing. We're on this journey together, and I really love this. I love doing readings for Capricorn. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's my favorite sign. An absolute favorite. I don't have a strong Capricorn placement in my chart. Maybe that's why I really connect so well with these Capricorn readings, is because there's kind of a vacuum within me for the Capricorn energy, you know. But let's go to the mystery card now. The frog didn't tell me what it was. I promise. I would like to see more water energy. I'd like to see a better, stronger kind of water energy, or a stronger earth energy. The earth might actually be kind of better here than more water. I think if we had another strong earth card, we would kind of counteract some of this air. Because air and earth, well, they don't get along. And right now we have so much air that is kind of overpowering this earth. It's kind of eventually will interfere with your plans, with your success, with your progress, with the work that you're doing in your environment, you know, your career, your home life. It's the practical material things of your life, your health, your finances. It has the potential to disrupt your physical life, right? Too much air. Well, we've got a Queen of Wands. This is okay. I like this one. This is the water of the fire, right? So we're taking this water, and water in terms of the spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding, the intuition, right? The compassion, the empathy, the feelings. And we've wrapped it in this cloak. We've wrapped it in the Three of Wands, really. We've wrapped our water in Three of Wands. We've wrapped our water in fire. And so this is your ability to, just like a fire, like a torch or a campfire, to warm those around you, to heal, to light the way, but also repels bugs, right? Repels predators, repels the unwanted energies. So I think that's good. But inside of it all is the water energy. So one, it's your kind of your vulnerability inside, your water, right? Your emotions, your heart, the core of you, the sensitive part of you is being protected. But the water is also your compassion and your love for people, for yourself, for your loved ones, for everybody. Your compassion for humanity even. We can extrapolate here, right? And so everything that you do, the warming of your friends, the love, the care, the abundance, the generosity, all of your fiery qualities for healing and for warmth and love and all of this, as well as repelling the negative energy, keeping the unwanted at bay, both of those have their basis in love, right? You love everyone, even those people that you're trying to keep away from you. All that negative energy, it's not done out of anger or hate, it's done out of love. Love for yourself, love for your loved ones, love for the world at large. Right? I don't think there are evil people. Right? I think even those that bring negative energy and it seems like they really enjoy it, it seems like they're evil people because all they want to do is bring disruption and chaos and harm to people. I don't think those are evil people. I think that these are people that truly don't understand themselves and they don't understand the energies that are flowing through them and through the world and the universe. And they've just kind of hitched their wagon to some negative energy, right? So it's not done for you. It's not because you don't have this anger or this hate. And that kind of brings us back to the Four of Cups, right? It is tolerance, it is forgiveness, but too much of that is going to cause harm to you, right? So we gotta keep this water wrapped up in this fire, because even harshness, even telling people to get the hell away from me, is still done out of love, right? It's still, you have to sometimes be very firm and have limits and have boundaries and be a little bit forceful and be assertive to protect this water energy, which is very important to you. You don't want to lose your humanity, your sensitivity. But we also don't want to go full Ten of Wands and just feel like we're invincible and we're just going to continue to bulldoze through walls or whatever, because that's going to hurt eventually. You'll feel it in the morning, Anyway, Capricorn, as always, I love reading for you, and I'm so happy that you came here to see me. I hope you'll stop back by again very soon. This was your timeless tarot reading, which means that whenever you happen to be watching this, I feel like this reading was meant to find you. And we're going to do an extended. If you want to stick around, click on the link right there. And you can have access to all of the extended readings, not just Capricorn, but every zodiac sign. Again, thank you for letting me read for you here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. That's cold.